In this video, we're going to look at the few tactical tweaks that Chelsea made in this game, how Pochettino tweaked things and how it looked and how it really did affect the game and help Chelsea get that victory. So on your screens now is the lineup from the game. We had Jackson starting out on the left, Madueke on the right, Palmer sort of playing in that false 9, number 9 position, Gallagher in the 10, the normal pivot, and then a back 4, which consisted of Chilwell, Gusto, Disasi, and Badiashile. So that was all without Thiago Silva and Raheem Sterling, who had both been supposedly, you could say, dropped or you could say rested. Here's the average positions from the game, and the key thing that I was looking at here is the distance between Caicedo and Enzo, and even Caicedo, Enzo and Gallagher as a 3. So those three in the middle, very compact, very close together, and that was key in this game. Now the first tweak I want to talk about is how Chelsea set up in that sort of 4-4-2 press with Enzo and Caicedo in the middle, Jackson and Madueke holding as the left mid and right mid, but showing them down the line and playing a bit more narrow and compact to show them down the line, with Gallagher and Palmer as the two up front in the 4-4-2 press. So this is how it looked. You had the 4 across the middle, the 2 left mid and right mid, showing it very compact, very central, trying not to let anything go between the lines and not let Aston Villa build up through the middle. They were trying to force everything down the outside into traps where they would run into Chilwell and Gusto, and that's when they could trap them against the sideline. And then you'd have Enzo, Caicedo go over to there as well, and you could almost trap them against the sideline with a 2 or 3 combination of players pressing towards that area of the pitch. By doing this, Chelsea stifled all of Aston Villa's central progression. They forced everything to go down the outside and they forced them to go into the traps. Aston Villa kept falling for it. They went straight into Chelsea's traps against the sideline and they couldn't get anything going through the middle. When they did put crosses into the box, it was more or less just Watkins attacking the box. You had Badiashile and Disasi to cover that. And overall, Chelsea's defensive game plan worked very, very well. The other thing I want to speak about is these two and Caicedo and their impact in the build-up and the changes in build-up structure that Pochettino changed, which I really liked. Here you can see Caicedo dropping almost between the centre-backs of Badiashile and Disasi there, being the base of the 3. Then you have Gallagher and Enzo in front of him, which is still sort of creating that 3-2 shape inside. You then have Chilwell and Gusto providing the width, and the other 3 forwards, Jackson, Madueke and Palmer, up front. The key here is you have Caicedo and Enzo very close together so that they can combine and they can play out from the back, which is something that they both excel in really, really well. Here you can see the advanced positions of Chilwell and Gusto, creating that 5 across the front, with Madueke dropping into that right half space to collect the ball and drive the team forward, something he did brilliantly throughout the whole game. You then have Caicedo coming slightly back up into midfield, Enzo and Gallagher pushing up again, and it sort of still creates that 3-2-5 that we were used to seeing. It's just a different way of forming it, with Caicedo dropping between the centre-backs, a bit like Eric Dyer used to do with Pochettino's Tottenham team. Here's another representation of that 3-2-5. So as you can see, Enzo and Gallagher in the pivot, Caicedo dropping between the 2 centre-backs, getting on the ball a lot more. Even sometimes he was going as deep as the goalkeeper from goal kicks. He was going into the 18-yard box, into his own box, collecting the ball, and he was the one bringing it out. So he was really the one that was starting all the build-up in the build-up phase 1. And Enzo was the one really dictating and pulling the strings from deep. He was the one that was looking to progress that ball and get it into the attacking players where they could then go and attack 1v1. Everybody in this game was really good. Enzo, you could point out so many good things. Brilliant goal. Caicedo doing that job really well. And the 2 centre-backs were very, very strong. They won everything they needed to. They played very well as a pair, Disasi and Badiashile. But the ones I want to talk about are Noni Madueke and Nicholas Jackson, both playing on the wing, both dropping into the left mid and right mid slots in defence. And they were both very, very important, both going forwards and going backwards defensively for the side. As you can see here, Noni Madueke completed 3 of his 5 dribble attempts. He was progressively carrying the team forward. There was a point on the right wing where it looked like he was nowhere near going to get the ball against 2 of the defenders. I can't remember who they were right now, but Madueke bustled his way through, went around the second man and really got away on the break for Chelsea. He was really good at driving the team forwards. He obviously got himself an assist for the Conor Gallagher goal, being in the right place, drifting into that right half space. Something that a lot of people have said Madueke can't do, which I don't agree with. I think he's more than capable of receiving the ball in that right half space and driving the team forward from that position with Gusto overlapping. He can also go outside, which makes him very dynamic. He can go both ways. He was very good selective at his dribbling attempts. He wasn't trying to do it every single time. He wasn't losing the ball in bad areas. It was very strong performance from Ronnie Madueke, both going forwards and coming backwards. His intensity, coming backwards, defending, doubling up with gusto. It was brilliant. Then you have Nicholas Jackson. Again, he was playing on the left this time. Again, very good defensively, tracking back, doubling up. He got himself a goal, drifting inside. An uncharacteristic header from him. It was actually a very good finish. He probably didn't know much about it because the defender blocking his view as he made the header, but it was a great finish. And the 4 key passes, every time he got on that left side, he was looking to drive and be direct. There was a few times it didn't quite pay off, but then because he was so relentless at getting the ball, driving at his man, getting us into the box, he ended up being a massive part in the first goal, getting the pre-assist into Madueke to lay off Gallagher. He got himself a goal for the second, and he was just constantly getting us forward, 4 key passes, dribbling and getting very direct down that left-hand side. And then he obviously has the ability to drift inside, and he was almost forming a 2 up front at times when Chilwell bombed in down the left. You then had Jackson, who would drift a lot closer to Cole Palmer. And obviously his goal came from a central area where a striker would be. That's where he drifted inside from the left, as I showed you in the picture earlier. He drifted inside. He was more of a left forward at that point. Chilwell being the left wing option, Gusto being the right wing option. Madueke and Jackson were more in those half spaces and attacking the box, which is a very important change from Pochettino. So what did you make of the tactical changes from Pochettino? Of course, we have to see this on a more consistent basis. But that one performance, for me, was the performance of the season. We saw everything we wanted to see. We had Enzo closer to Caicedo. The build-up patterns were much nicer. Everybody looked like there was a lot more desire and fight in the team. And it was just a lot better, both going forwards, defensively, and just the overall structure of the team. It just felt so much better. So a very good game. A lot of credit goes to Pochettino for changing the things that he did. The players were all very good. Some absolutely amazing performances. And hopefully we can use this as a starting point now to build on. What we don't want is to see regression after this. The Liverpool game and the Wolves game were both horrific. They were both terrible games, 2 of our worst games of the season, along with Manchester United. But from this day now, it has to change. It cannot go backwards. If this has to be the starting point, and we're only going to see, only time will tell. We've got Crystal Palace on Monday. That's a big game. Players might get rested, but we need to see a similar structure. We need to see a similar way of playing, a similar desire to win that game. And they're without Elise, they're without Eze, they're without Gurhi. So it's a very good and very strong chance to get 3 points on the board and keep momentum rolling. So let's hope for the best. As always, up the Chelsea.